What's up, everyone? So I am at Cincinnati Airport, or Covington, which is northern Kentucky technically. But as you can see, I'm wearing my Blue Jackets jersey because I'm about to fly to Tampa, Florida for the NHL All Star Game and skills competition. About to go up in the air in a tiny little flying tin can, but I'll see you in Tampa. Before we go to Tampa, I gotta wake the F up. All right, so I'm down here in Tampa, and there is the Amalie Arena. Today is the All-Star Skills Competition. Tomorrow's the actual All-Star Game. So I'll show you a little bit of footage from inside for the skills competition. The arena is pretty much empty right now. We got in early because we're sitting club level, so there's no one here. It's kind of weird.
Blue Jackets, and the Metropolitan Division captain, here he is for his second shot, Alex Ovechkin. Metropolitan Division captain from the Washington Capitals, number 8, Alex Ovechkin.
All right, so we are all done. The All-Star Game is over. The place is cleared out, and we are heading home now. I'll see you guys from Cincinnati. This has been fun, but ready to come home. Hey, what's up, everyone? So I'm back in Cincinnati, back in Ohio, and I am back at the Nerd Bar. And as you can see here, I've got some Voltron lines out on the Nerd Bar. I am actually introducing you to a new video series. This is something that I'm going to be calling Versus. The whole point of Versus is basically to do a kind of a double showcase. I'm going to be showcasing two related characters in the Versus series. So the first one is going to be me showcasing the classic Voltron lines versus the modern Voltron lines, all by Playmates. And what I'm going to do at the end of this video is to combine the lines into Voltron and then show you a comparison between the classic Voltron combined form and the modern Voltron combined form from the Netflix show. So welcome to Versus, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so here is the first comparison. On the left we have the classic Red Lion, and on the right we have the modern Red Lion. I'm going to show you all the detail in both of these lions. I'm going to show you the accessories that they come with, and then I'm going to show you different views of them as well, so you could see them from front and side. But let's start over here with the classic Red Lion. Pretty accurate to the old '84 cartoon, meaning it looks very, very boxy. He's very, very square, boxy, but again, that is what he looked like on the '84 cartoon. He does come with some really cool accessories, actually. He comes with this little gun here, this dagger that fits in his mouth with that little tab there, which I'll show you how it fits in. And it comes with this accessory here that shoots these missiles. Let me show you how the dagger fits in the mouth here real quick. Alright, so to fit the dagger in the mouth, this jaw is spring-loaded, and as you can see here, there's a little tab on the inside of the mouth there, and there is also a tab right there. That small gray tab fits directly into that little hole there inside the mouth. So let me go ahead and get that in place and show you what it looks like. All right, and here is what it looks like with the dagger in the mouth. It looks pretty cool. I remember from the cartoon in the 1980s that they did used to hold these knives, these daggers in their mouth and use them as weapons. So I think it looks really cool like that. As far as head movement goes, he can turn his head. It does swivel, but there is no up and down movement on the head. These weapons here have little pegs and they can peg into the holes in the legs. And then this here does fire if you push this button. Now let's compare it to the modern line. Now this line is based on the Netflix television show. As you can see, it is more, I would say, cat-like. I think the legs look better with the red paint on the feet. You can see that there's a big difference between the classic line and the modern red line. But let me show you what these look like from the front as well. Alright, and here is what they look like from the front, and you can see they're about the same size. The classic line is much more boxy looking. The modern line is much more rounded looking. And there's that angle as well. The modern red line does come with this accessory right here, which is basically like a giant missile launcher. I don't think it looks that great, so I don't even pose it with the figure. Let's move on to the green now. Alright, and here's the comparison between the classic green line and the modern green line. You can see right away that there is a difference in the actual shade of green that's used. This one is a much lighter green, whereas this one's a much darker green. But they look very, very different. Let's start with the classic green line. You can see the classic green line is rounded. In the cartoon, it did look like this. It was a more rounded look versus the red line, which was more boxy looking. But he does come with these accessories. This one can plug in on the leg. This one here has a peg for the mouth. And then here's the missile firing weapon as well. And then here is the modern green line. The modern Netflix green line does have this shield on its back. But as you can see, once again, very, very different looking. You can almost see that the modern line has kind of an underbite. If you look at the jaw there. Versus the classic line, which does not have that underbite. There's a good look at both of their jaws right there. The modern green line does have this missile firing weapon again. I don't actually pose the line with these missile firing effects. I just pose it like this on my shelf. However, these weapons right here, this dagger that fits in the mouth and then this right here, I can remember from the '84 cartoon. So right away, the classic lines do get the check mark for better accessories. I do think though that as far as overall look and aesthetic, I think that the modern lines look slightly better. I like the additional paint in the feet. I just think that that makes their feet and legs pop a lot better. And I just kind of like the overall sleek look, the rounded look of the modern line versus the classic line. So there you go. Let me show you the front view of the green line. Alright, and here's the front view. Classic green line versus the modern green line. And you can see the overall size difference right here. But again, they look different. I like them both. But let's move on to the blue line next. And here we have the comparison between the modern blue line and the classic blue line. So first things first, I really like the head articulation on the classic blue line. He has good articulation in the neck and head, partly because of the transformation into Voltron. His head becomes the foot for Voltron. So the yellow classic line and the blue classic line both have good articulation, and you can kind of pose them in different ways. So let me show you a couple of the different ways that you can pose the head of the blue line. So you can pose him with the head looking down, the neck straight and the head looking straight, the neck up and the head looking straight, the neck up and the head up. So there's quite a few different ways that you can pose the head for the blue and yellow lines, and I really like that. This one does come with the two accessories that are pretty authentic to the cartoon. This little blaster that plugs into his back leg, the dagger or knife that fits into his mouth, and then it comes with this play accessory that shoots that missile there. As far as the modern line goes, here is what he looks like. again, I really like the paint on the feet and on the legs compared to the legs on the classic lines. The modern blue line does come with this missile launcher. Again, I don't pose it with that. But let me show the head-on view of these two blue lions. So there's what they look like head-on. I think they both look pretty authentic to the source material, that being the cartoon. The one thing that I don't like on the blue lion is the back legs, and let me show you here. Kind of hollowness right there. And again, I know that this is part of transformation into the Voltron robot, but if you catch this on certain angles, I just don't like the way that the hind legs look up top. Otherwise, it's a pretty decent looking lion. Again, they look very different. You might not spot all the differences when these are in package, but when you have them out of package, you can clearly see the difference between the two. So now let's move on to the yellow lions. And here we have the classic yellow lion versus the modern yellow lion. And you can see this one does look a lot different. The modern yellow lion is very bulked up, as it is in the Netflix cartoon. I like the way he looks though. He looks very cool. And then the classic yellow lion looks like the classic yellow lion. This is exactly how he looked on the cartoon. But there you have the side view of classic versus modern, showing you the accessories. Classic does come with these two accessories, which are cartoon accurate, and this missile firing weapon here. The modern yellow lion comes with this ridiculous disc launcher, which I do not use. And again, the modern yellow lion has the same problem that the modern blue lion had, with the legs looking hollow up top. Again, because the lower legs fold up into the upper legs to form the leg for Voltron. And here's the head-on view of the yellow lions. I'll show you the view from up top. Very cool looking. But there's the head-on view, classic versus modern yellow lions. And that brings us to our final lion. Let's take a look at the two black lions. And here you have classic black lion versus modern black lion. So I'm not a big fan of the design of the modern black lion. I don't think it looks like a lion. It kind of looks like an ape of some kind. Also, the way it was designed, it doesn't really look like an animal. It looks like a torso that's just kind of horizontal. I don't know, that's what my eyes are seeing, is a giant torso for a robot that's just kind of horizontal. I'm also not a big fan of the fact that these two giant red wings don't really fold up. They're just kind of there. I know a lot of people like that look, but I much rather prefer the look of the classic black lion where the wings can fold up like that. I really like the classic black lion. This was always my favorite lion in the 80s cartoon. But there's the comparison. Again, I don't think this looks like a cat. It looks like some kind of gorilla. Like a silverback gorilla almost. But there you have it. Let me show you the accessories. So the classic black lion does come with the Voltron sword and the Voltron shield. The Voltron sword is pretty much just a gray piece of plastic. I do give it to the modern black lion though, because this energy sword for the modern Voltron is awesome. I really like this sword. So they did a great job with that accessory. But there you go. There is the comparison between the two black lions, classic, modern. Let me show you a head-on view of both of those, and then we will get into transforming these guys into Voltron. Here's the head-on view of the classic Voltron and modern Voltron. You can see there, look at those giant wings on the back. They just stand out. But there is the head-on view. Let me show you what they look like from the top. I really like the classic black lion. This looks awesome. Very cool. And they both have sounds. I have the sounds turned off because They make a lot of noise, so I turned off the sounds for both of them. But they're interactive and they make noise and tell you when different limbs are plugged into the Black Lion. Let's go ahead and form the two Voltrons. I'm going to form the Classic Voltron as well as the Modern Voltron, and I will show you what they look like as compared to each other in combined form. And here we have the combined forms of the Classic Voltron and the Modern Voltron. So I will say this right away, I really prefer the combined version of the Classic Voltron over the combined version of the Modern Voltron. I think that the combined version of the Modern Voltron just looks a little odd. There's parts that are sticking out on the Modern Voltron. He doesn't have the best arm articulation. He doesn't have any ankle pivot. And he's hard to balance. So this one, on the other hand, looks fantastic. He has head articulation, so you can actually move his head around. He can look up. He can turn his head. The Modern Voltron can look up, but he has zero swivel in his neck. He cannot turn his head. This one also has the benefit of these blue and yellow lines having that swivel on their neck, so it basically creates ankle pivot when in Voltron form. So you can see here, he stands very easily and looks really good in combined form. This one, on the other hand, just looks strange. I'm not a big fan of the combined form of the Modern Voltron line. I really like the lions individually, but I am not the biggest fan of the combined Modern Voltron. As far as the accessories, the gray sword looks okay. However, this modern energy sword looks fantastic. But once again, there is the combined versions of the Classic versus the Modern Voltron. If I was going to recommend purchasing one or the other, it kind of depends on how you're going to display it. If you're going to display it in combined Voltron form, I would absolutely recommend the Classic 84 look. If you're going to display them in individual lions, you might want to opt for the modern one. Because while this doesn't look that great in combined Voltron form, it does look good with the individual lions. So I guess it all comes down to how you're going to display it. I have a place in my heart for the 84 Voltron. I'm a huge fan of the Classic Voltron series, but at the same time, I really like the new Netflix show. It's an excellent show. If you have Netflix and you haven't checked out the new Modern Voltron, I would absolutely recommend that. But there you go. This was the first Versus episode. Classic Voltron versus Modern Voltron. And I think the winner, at least for me, is Classic Voltron. So there you go, guys. This is the first episode of Versus. I'm not sure how many more of these I'm going to do. Kind of depends on how much you liked the episode. If you did like this episode, please do give a thumbs up on this video, and I'll do more of these Versus. I have lots more that I can possibly do. I have a Mezco Red Sun Superman on the way, so I can do a Versus between the Classic Superman and the Red Sun Superman. I also have a brown suit Mezco Wolverine on the way, so I can do a Versus between the brown suit Wolverine by Mezco and the Tiger Stripe yellow suit by Mezco. So I like doing these comparison videos, showing you the differences and then kind of picking my favorite one. But this was the first episode of Versus. Please let me know how you liked it in the comments below. But thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. I absolutely appreciate it. And as always, have fun collecting. I'll see you guys in the next episode. But as for now, adios.